Good evening, traders. This is Mac. I wanted to share my trades with you today. I hope everybody had a great day. I will start by showing you my loser. I took a screenshot of it here, and that was with United Airlines. There was, at the open today, a lot of, I guess I would call it intersector deviation that I haven't seen over the last few trading days. And what I mean by that is, looking at United Airlines, looking at Delta Airlines, American Airlines, Southwest, typically they all move pretty well together. Well, this morning they weren't. American Airlines was shooting up right out of the gate, and I was watching United Airlines while keeping those off to the side, and United Airlines was slacking off. Well, seeing these others start to go up, my assumption is, after the way I've traded in the last few days, that United Airlines is just lagging a little bit, and so it looked decent. So I jumped in, and unfortunately, right here, I took it long, and it stopped me out right away. Well, then it kind of hesitated here. Everything else still looking strong. I took it long again, and again, immediately, it stopped me out. So 2 stop outs to start the day. Not a good way to go, but I wasn't down and out. My next trade, here, let me erase this, was on Delta. I jumped right over to it, and by this point, this was at about almost 9:40. They all started looking weak at this point. So when it was coming down to VWAP here, I took it short for the fall through VWAP, and it did, and I got a couple partials. But when we got over here, I could see bids piling up, and I was like, this is going to flip on me. So even before I got to my break even, I stopped all my shares out right here. But then when it did break through VWAP and it still looked strong, I went ahead and flipped my position and went long. So I was able to get about 5 partials there, and then here again, it looked like the market was kind of changing directions on me. I had no confidence that it was going to be able to hold up. So instead of waiting for these remaining shares to get back to my break even, I just went ahead and stopped out for the rest of it. And that was a nice little profit. After that, though, actually, I think did I take another trade on Delta? No, that was it. Okay. For some reason I was thinking I took another trade. AMD, this was a great one. And I got to give a shout out to Norm in the room, in the Bear Bull Traders room. He made a call out. Well, it wasn't really a call out, but made a point to recognize it yesterday when Cuomo was speaking in New York, that some of his comments kind of brought the market up, and he was about to come on TV again. So I jumped over to YouTube, found the live feed, and started watching, and everything he was saying was much better than what really I had expected. That the number of new cases were dropping, the number of deaths were up, but he explained that that was a lagging indicator. So everything was real positive, so I started getting bullish on the market in general. And AMD looked a little bit more bullish than the SPY did, so I jumped in long on AMD here, and this was just after 11 o'clock. I went in pretty heavy, and I started taking partials. Now right here, I added in. And this is not a typical add-in. Typically when I add in, it's on a pullback. This was not a pullback add-in. What this was is I saw this as still a very strong stock, to the point that if I was not in a trade, I would be taking a trade from this point. So based on the number of shares that I currently had, I was ready to basically make a whole new trade on top of that. And so I actually added in pretty heavy on my position, and that allowed me to take a lot of partials going up. Let me see if I can get a pin going here, slide over here. So I took all these partials, every between 8 and 15 cent apart, which was pretty good for AMD, but it was super strong. It just kept on trucking through these levels that I had marked and everything. And I was down to just a few hundred shares up here at the top, and it started pulling back. Now, this is where I did try to do an add-on, something that Thor Young in our group calls a free roll. Basically, I added into my shares as it pulled back, risking my unrealized profits. So basically, I had to raise up my stop out level from the old break even to a new break even. So I'm not risking anything that I've already partialed out, but I'm risking my unrealized gains. And unfortunately, this was premature, and it came all the way down right to that level that I had set, took me out, and then it continued on up. So, but that's fine. I had a great day. I was a little bit better than double goal, and I will say that this is coming off of a max loss day. Yesterday, I stopped out on just about everything I did except for a pre-market trade. And so I kind of anticipated that might come because the last couple weeks I've been doing so well that I recognized that I was getting overconfident, and so I was kind of in a way relieved that I lost a little bit there yesterday, and it was more than I wanted to. But the reason I say that is I found for myself, excuse the train in the background, I found for myself that the longer I go without a loss, the bigger that first loss is going to be, and it's just because of my personality and the way I trade. But I do recognize that in myself, and it is something I've worked on. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this recap. If you would, please leave me a comment and let me know what type of trades you took today. Everybody have a great evening.